What's up, Cats fans? It's Paul here from The Hoop Show, dissecting with you the fixture for 2023. It has been released earlier today by the AFL after it leaked through the Age, so I'm sure they probably weren't quite ready to go as soon as they have. But it's here. We've got the official details now straight from the horse's mouth, and we're going to dive into it. No, I'm not going to just download the PDF here. I just left that up in plain sight so you can see what we're doing. Now, let's scrub all the way up to the top. We are focusing exclusively on the Geelong fixture there. We could, of course, look at the whole AFL one, but we're here. We're Cats fans. So who cares about the rest? Let's not waste our time with any of their rubbish. Let's focus on what the Cats need to do to win the flag in 2023 and go back-to-back. Now, interestingly, and I guess as I pair things with my own ladder prediction from maybe a week or two ago at this point on the Hoop Show, based on that, we've got a couple tricky sort of weeks to kick off with. Now, the word was already out there about Geelong and Collingwood kicking things off, 7:40 at the MCG on a Friday night. That is obviously a really exciting way to start the season. It'll be fascinating to see how the Cats back up. It'll also be really, really interesting to see how the Pies respond to the unfortunate way in which they kind of bowed out this year with two really close losses to us and then the Swans in the qualifier and the prelim. But I'll be really interested. I'll back the Cats in. It's our home game. It's round one, which is fantastic for the Cats to have round one against the Pies, a rematch of from the finals, a really hotly anticipated game. It's going to be I'd imagine it is a lot of money for the Cats coming in that day, but that's a whole other thing entirely. So, really great way to start the year, but it gets harder. It gets pretty hard again with round two. If my ladder prediction is correct, we've got the Blues in round two, 7:20 at the MCG on a Thursday night. We're seeing more Thursdays this year from what's been outlined so far. And again, the Baggers they're a team on the rise, so I think that could be a really tough game. We'll see how things go. I'd like to think we'll have their measure, but back-to-back games at the MCG as well, before we then take off to take on a totally jacked Touk Miller. I don't know if anyone has seen the photo that's appeared of Touk Miller in the last couple of days, but he is looking ripped at the moment. Perfect specimen right now. But we'll be taking on him and the Giants early in the piece. I can deal with this when it is, because I stand by the fact that they will be a dangerous team next year, and I can't imagine Ben King will be firing on all cylinders by round 3. So that gives the Cats maybe a little bit more breathing room because they don't have to deal with a King twin who's, hopefully, for his sake, and the Gold Coast Suns, but specifically his sake, one that's firing on all cylinders once again. Round 4, you could have penned that in because it's the Easter Monday game against the Hawks, and I can't wait to smash them by about 80 points. I feel like this is going to be a bloodbath when the time comes. I know we've got an amazing history with them of playing out these tight matches and all those sorts of things, but their team is so heavily depleted now. They've traded out all their experience. They've brought in young players. It'll be sad to be playing against Cooper Stevens, seeing him in the Hawthorn colours, but it is what it is there, and it's a game I'm really excited to go to myself. There's a lot of games I've spoken about a lot. There's a lot of games I couldn't go to in 2023. In fact, I didn't go to any until the finals. Sorry, in 2022. Didn't go to any games all year until the finals came along because it's just the family circumstance wasn't really allowing it. And then I've just banked all the credits for finals time. So it'll be nice to get some home and away stuff, especially this game. If there's one game in the home and away that I go to all year, I want it to be this one, and maybe because it sounds like Geelong wants to unfurl the flag when they're actually playing in Geelong. So I presume I'm going to try and find a way to get to this game at GMHBA on May 6th. I might even try and take my son. 2:10 is a really good time, so that could be cool. It'll be a hard game to get into, but that could be really cool. Anyway, that's jumping ahead a little bit. So next up, this will be Gather Round, because we're playing West Coast in Adelaide. Gather Round, for anyone unaware, is this round that has been identified from a little while back now, that they were going to play every game out of Adelaide. They're trying to build a whole carnival, like an event out of the entire thing, and have all the AFL teams in the same space for one round. And we play the Eagles at Adelaide Oval. So it'll be as the home team, which will be weird, but different, and fascinating. And we're not playing against it. I don't know. It feels like maybe as someone who's not actually been to a game in Adelaide before, might be the best time to do it because we don't have to deal with that never tear us apart bullshit that's just incredibly well done by the Port supporters, but highly intimidating. And we don't have to deal with those toothless flogs that are the Adelaide supporters. Hey guys. All right. Moving on from that. Another tough one in the next round being the grand final replay. Oh, no. GMHBA. That can't be right. There's too many reports suggesting the stadium won't be ready. I must have missed that when I was scrolling to Adelaide before, but that'd be a fascinating one. I would not have picked the stadium to be ready by round 6, but maybe with this stuff out there, maybe they're going to be accelerating their plans a little bit, or they're going to need to throw a bit of extra money at it, throw some more human resource at it, and see if they can get it over the line. But Cats' home game there against the Swans, if it goes ahead, that will be the one where the flag is unfurled, and I guess I will not be taking my son to that one because at the time that it is, but I'll keep waiting for that Adelaide game. Next up, is this our first game at the G that's not a home game? No, there was Carlton as well. The Bombers, 110 at the MCG, could also be a good one to take my son to. He's 4, turning 5 next year. We're at that point where it's time to get him to a footy game, I think. He loves the siren. He loves watching some of the footy on the TV. Keeping him engaged for the entire day could be a bit of the entire match could be a challenge, but we'll see how we go there. The Bombers, we should smack them around. I still don't rate them, though. Ben, if you believe Ben and his ladder prediction, and please make sure to check out both of our videos when it came to our separate ladder predictions. He believes they're going to be a top 2 team at the end of the year, so who knows? Could be a really fascinating game in the end. Next up is the game that I've already touched on, the game against the Crows. We should win. They're a young and certainly improving team, but I don't think they'll be ready for a game against Geelong in Geelong at that particular stage. Here's a fascinating one: the Tigers. The Tigers are, they've loaded up. They've loaded up to have another crack while Jack and Cochin are there, while Dusty is still somewhere near his prime. I guess we're still trying to get a bit of a read on where Dusty's at as a player at the moment, but it could be a really challenging game. Obviously, it was such an iconic moment of the 2022 season was the Jack Henry mark and goal that put us in front during the 2022 season. So you'd imagine they're smart. The Tigers are smarting from that and how it all played out, and I'm looking forward to it. Next up is an interstate trip. We're off to play the Dockers at Optus Stadium, I should say. And obviously the Dockers, I don't know, they could rise further. They could also slide back at the pack a little bit, but they've got plenty of quality on the team, so they're not to be taken lightly. Unlike the Giants, who I think we can probably not stress too much about, I guess. They're a weakened team. They're a depleted team. They've lost some of their best players over to Richmond, and I don't see them climbing up the ladder. More, maybe at best, kind of holding ground, which is still to say they'll be in the bottom 4 sort of teams in the comp. So, hopefully a comfortable win there. The Dogs is never a straightforward and easy game, especially when you play them at Marvel. That leans into their strengths a little bit. So that'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. But again, would like to think that we get the chocolates there. Then we've got a bye. And I've seen rumblings that there might be 4 different buys over the course of the season. I'm not super clear on that. I saw something in a Facebook Messenger chat that I'm a part of, but I haven't actually explored the full details. Maybe the full AFL fixture will highlight that a little bit better for us shortly, but we'll see about that. Back to Adelaide to play Port Adelaide. And again, this is a team that I feel like should be challenging all the top 4 teams, even if they underperform a little bit again. They're strong, they've got some strong players all over the field, and so they're not to be taken lightly. Meanwhile, the D's. This will be a game. It's in Geelong, which gives us obviously a little bit of an advantage, but this could be a grand final preview. I feel like they're the ones that I picked as the top 2 teams. This could be the grand final preview. The D's are, I would argue, the best team in the competition in terms of just sheer ability and those sort of things, and they just couldn't quite put it all together in 2022 to win the chocolates. They kind of fell over at the end. So if their bodies can hold up, if the Grundy and Gawn combination works, then look out. This could be a really challenging game. And the rest are all listed as to be confirmed. I believe this is the actual sequential order of it, though, but it's just that we don't have dates or anything like that yet. So rematch against the Swans, obviously on their territory this time, will be fascinating. The last time we played there, obviously Buddy got his 1000th, so it was kind of a historic moment there. Glad we got our piece of history later in the year. A game against North, which should be a fairly straightforward one for the Cats. The Bombers at GMHBA, which is good to see that we're playing some of those top Melbourne teams, playing them in Geelong. I really like that, and I think 40,000 seat stadium unlocks things like this in the future, whether it's Essendon, whether it's Carlton, whether it's Richmond, whether it's Collingwood. I'd love to see more of that in the future. Hopefully that becomes a reality, and if you're a club supporter, if you're a club member, reach out and talk about this sort of thing, because to play those teams in Geelong is a huge deal. Not just for the advantage that it gives us, but because obviously there is an advantage there, but also just for the environment that creates when you bring one of these teams that's so huge into town. Brisbane, did we play Brisbane earlier on? No, I'm guessing probably the one and only time that we play Brisbane then. At the Gabba, later in the piece. Cool. We play against the Dockers again at home. We play Port again at home. We play Collingwood again at the G, and obviously their home game this time. The Saints and the Dogs for a second time. So I think overall it's a pretty good draw for us. If I go through it and if I try and, I don't know, let's try and win-loss this thing. Let's play it safe and assume that maybe there's a little bit of a grand final hangover. No hunger gone, but let's assume there's a little bit of a grand final hangover and that we lose to the Pies in round 1. We win here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a nice block of kind of lower teams, though the Suns again will challenge. 4, 5 to beat the Swans back at home. I think they'll be scarred a little bit. 6, 7. I'll say no. I'll say no. I fear the Tigers. 8, 9, 10. Could go either way, but I'll say 11. 12, just because it's in Geelong. 13, because I think they're hurting. 14. 15. Well, I mean, they've signed Eric Hipwood for 20 years, so clearly he's going to be leading the charge for them. I just lost count now. What was I say? 14 here, 15, 16. I think I've counted all that right up to this point. 17, 18. I don't think we'll lose to them. I think it'll be a split, so 19, 20, 21. No, we're not going to win 21 games. I've miscounted something too, by the way, clearly. Let's try this one more time without screwing it up this time. So I'm just going to count the wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, Eric Hipwood, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh my God. I think we're going to win 21 games. That's not that, like, when I look at it like that, I say 21 wins. But then if I'm going to be a realist, we know that form fluctuates and all those sorts of things. And so I feel like the reality is probably something closer to 17 or 18 wins. We might we might drop this game against Freo, for example, over there, or what's another? We might split with the Swans or something like that. Maybe when we play them over in Sydney, we could drop Carlton earlier on in the piece, whatever the case happens to be. Brisbane, maybe Eric Hipwood earns his money. I don't know. I don't think it's for a team that's just won the flag, I don't think it is the hardest fixture of all time. So I'll look at some of the positives in that. I'm also just going to turn the by club thing off, and if it's going to allow me to. Let me just try that again. Reload this page. It's still just focusing on, I don't want by club, I just want by round. I heard... No, it's not going to give me the whole season. That's all right. Whatever. It is what it is. I'm hearing that there's talk about 4 different buys over the course of the year, which would be weird. I guess I'm not going to try the dates. If something maybe jumps out at me, then I'll comment. There's one clearly, and then who knows after that because the dates are TBC. Either way, I think it's a fairly straightforward fixture for the Cats next year. It's not the most challenging one in the world considering where we just ended up. So. And there's obviously a ton of Geelong games as we start moving into the back end of the season, and we've got access to the stadium the way we want it. So I think it'll put us in a nice position to attack the finals in relatively good form, similar to this year, and hopefully they can manage the squad and have them in a position to do so successfully. But I'll wrap things up there. So let me know your thoughts. Make sure to hit us up in the YouTube comments. Catch us on social media, twitter.com/thehoopshow. For the channel more specifically, you can catch me, Paul James Games, on Twitter. If you want to shout at me and my thoughts over the whole thing, if you're a Brisbane Lions supporter and I've just upset you by insulting Eric Hipwood, I don't apologise. He's rubbish. But yeah, if you've got thoughts, please, we'd love to hear them. And it's gonna be a really fascinating season ahead. Obviously, you say all this stuff now. It's in a vacuum. Players get injured. We had a very, very good run of things last year, with the exclusion of Max Holmes at the very, very end, and that doesn't often repeat itself. I guess you got to have a fair bit of luck on your side to string a couple good years of injury-free form. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, let us know your thoughts. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, smash that subscribe button down below. Make sure that you're all across it, because like, share, and subscribe, the whole thing there. Ding the bell. There's lots of videos that are still going up regularly. We are recording behind the play episodes, so consider hitting up the Patreon as well, patreon.com/the_hoops_show to check out the things that we're offering there at a variety of different tiers. For the cost of a coffee, you can get involved there and get early access to some really cool episodes, including AFLW player Brooke Plummer, who's come on the show recently, Oscar Riccardi, new draftee to the Cats, and obviously son of Geelong great Peter Riccardi. And we've got some other episodes already in the can and others scheduled that you can check out in the near future as well. So lots of cool content there. Thank you for joining me as we check out the Geelong fixture for 2023. Looks like an exciting year ahead, and one that is hopefully littered with wins. But otherwise, cheers guys. We'll see you later. Go Cats.